Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of How Do I Start This? My name is Tlovespeaksss. If you're new here, we talk all things hip hop, black culture, entertainment, all that type of stuff. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you can be updated when I drop new content. So I tapped the glass. It took me a long time, but I finally tapped the glass. For those of you who are unaware, Tyler the Creator released, I don't even know what number album this is for him now, but he released his newest album called Don't Tap the Glass. And yeah, so I'll just get into it before I give like my overall opinion about Tyler the Creator. I'll just go kind of song by song. First things first, I did not make it through this album. I quickly realized that even though I appreciated certain aspects of it, I quickly realized that it wasn't for me. Yeah, so also I think it's important for me to like preface this video with like, I've always appreciated Tyler the Creator as an artist, especially since like, you know, we're kind of around the same age. When he came onto the scene with the Odd Future Wolfgang collective, like, you know, they were like the newest thing. They were unique. They did skits. They had music. They had clothes. So like they were like the cool thing of the 2010s. And so I always appreciated that. But I was like never into the music. Like like I said, I appreciate them, but it wasn't for me. With that being said, I kind of dreaded like listening to this album because like I didn't want to be disappointed. Like Tyler is someone who really appreciates the culture. He really appreciates hip hop and just music generally. And he has a vast amount of music knowledge, which you can hear through these songs on here. And I'll talk about that in a bit. And so I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to like go into this album just like loving it. And that like, I don't know. So the album starts with the song Big Po. And I actually like this. Like I said, I took notes on old receipts because I'm in my car. But yeah, I took notes just so if you see me looking down. Big Po was the intro track. I really liked it. It had a very 80s party type boom bap type of feel. It kind of reminded me of Naughty by Nature. And I know that's like, I feel like that's kind of like the opposite end of what you would expect from a Tyler the Creator album, but that's definitely what it reminded me of. It also had a Busta Rhymes sample, the Cavassier sample, which I loved. And so this is one of the tracks that I added to my like library. And so yeah, I thought the production on here was stellar. I was like, okay, this is a great way to start off the album. However, with that being said, let's stop having Pharrell rap and sing on tracks. Like, I know that he can do it. I know that and y'all know from my previous video, I am not a fan of Pharrell singing. I'm not. Like I said, he did okay and did his part well on the Clips album, but I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't need to be this thing. And I think on this Big Po record, he was rapping and singing, and I'm just like, that's enough of that. It just, I don't know. To me, it's like he only has one key. It's like one key that he sings in, and that's fine, but it doesn't fit every record. And I wasn't really into that part. That would be like if I had a point system, like I would deduct points from that. Okay, so Big Po, I like that one. Sugar on My Tongue was an absolute no. I understood that it was a disco record, but I'm like, nah, I'm good. Sucker Free, the production was amazing. And this was, I think, song 3. And this is where I start to feel like the lyricism is kind of lacking. And when I say lyricism, because at the beginning of the album, Tyler says like, this is not, I think he said something like, this ain't no deep shit or something like that. Like, so basically he was warning the viewers to like not expect deep lyricism. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like the song structure wasn't for me. Like it just, you know how you have a chorus and a bridge and then a verse, which kind of tackles like, you know, just like a structure. And I don't know if it's like because I have ADHD and my brain just like loves structure. It just felt like all over the place. And yeah, I didn't like it. But what I will say is that actually, I'll save this point towards the end. But what I will say is this track, Sucker Free, reminded me of Roger and Zapp, which everyone loves Roger and Zapp. So that was pretty cool. Mama and Them, no. Stop Playing With Me, it was okay. The production was good. I wrote something down and I don't even know what I wrote, but I think I wrote Unorthodox. So I know Stop Playing With Me is the one track that had a visual, and maybe I'll go back and look at the visual just to analyze it to see if it's like something I'm missing. It had a very like, I think, yeah, was it Stop Playing With Me or was this, yeah, Stop Playing With Me made me feel like it made me feel like 80s 80s anti-hero. I'm thinking of Bruce Willis, all those like Terminator, all those like movie stars in the 80s, or action heroes in the 80s that were like heroes, but they weren't heroes. Like they had to like go into the underworld and like solve a crime through like negative means. I know I'm like way off topic, but I'm just trying to say like that's what the Stop Playing Me song reminded me of. It definitely reminded me of like 80s. There's a name for it. I think it's called oh man, I wrote a whole paper about this. I wrote a whole research article about this. I wrote about it when I was why am I blanking? Yeah, but it's like a movie genre with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis that was really popular in the 80s. That song reminded me of it. It also reminded me of like 80s arcade, kind of like Stranger Things type of thing. So it was cool. Ring, 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 Ring kind of reminded me of that. I don't know that song. I feel like I should know. I should know more, but I'm kind of just talking off the top of my head. Ring, Ring, Ring was okay. It was good for the moment. I won't be replaying it, but it reminded me of that, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that song. It reminded me of that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah, I wasn't playing it again. DTTG / Tweaking. The first beat of this was okay. I think I've been very vocal, either, if not in my videos, definitely on Twitter, that I am not a fan of beat switches. I think beat switches, I think artists these days use beat switches to be lazy. I think they use it to cover up the fact that they can't rely on their own skill and their own artistry to like just stay on one beat. And I'll talk about that in another video as well. But yeah, I liked the first beat. I was really impressed that it was produced by Tyler. I was like, oh my goodness. You know, he's an amazing producer. I don't think he gets enough credit as a producer. But yeah, I liked the production, and I actually liked the lyrics were okay on that first part, but the tweaking beat, I was just like, nah, I'm good on that. So I kind of checked out. My favorite song off this album is probably Don't You Worry. And it's ironic because like Tyler has no vocals on it almost. Like it's mostly the artist Madison singing, and I think he has like a couple of ad libs, and maybe a bridge, but for the most part it wasn't him. He wasn't on the track, and I enjoyed that a lot, and I added this one to my library. And then the next song was Tell Me What It Is, Tell Me What It Is. That song was okay, but it's not one that I was going back to, and that's where I stopped. And I think that was like actually the last song before the end of the album. Okay, so if I had to give this album a rating, for me, it would be, I'd say a 6 out of 10. And I say a 6 out of 10 because I can recognize the importance of the album, even though it's not for me. And when I say importance, I can recognize and celebrate and appreciate the structure, the production, what Tyler, I think, was trying to do with this album. Like, I appreciate all of that, but sonically, I wasn't into it. And so I think that like we have to start being honest about, and maybe it's just me, maybe like I just don't get the whole Tyler the Creator wave, and that's fine, but I do think we need to start like being honest about some of his music, because I think that we're in a space in hip hop now where we're championing lyricism and we're trying to get back to the essence. And Tyler is somebody who really, really loves hip hop. He not just the music, but he loves the meaning of it, and he actually is very tapped into the history of it, and he incorporates that into his music. Like, I think it's "Don't You Worry." I think that's one of the songs. The last one, it had a "Knuck If You Buck" sample, right? Like, he sampled all throughout his album, which I think he did in a good way. So I think that because he appreciates hip hop and cares for the culture so much, we want to put him in that, like, in the lyricist category and the MC category. Ah, man, I just think he makes vibe music. I think he makes vibe music. I'm whispering because I know y'all gonna get me, but I don't know, man. I think he's closer to the Playboy Cardis of the world than the Kendricks in the Clips, which sounds crazy because he was just on the Clips album and he did amazing. So I don't know if I was expecting that because of what I got on the Clips album, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I went into this like already knowing and feeling like I want to like this album, but Tyler's music is just not for me. And I kind of left feeling like that as well. Like, I appreciate him as an artist, but I don't think his music is for me. And I don't know, I think he just makes really cool experimental vibe music. Like, it sounds like he just went in the studio and just did whatever the hell he wanted, which on one hand, I think there's a freedom in that, right? Like, I think artists have been so restricted and confined to, reproducing certain sounds for the masses, especially when it's signed to big labels, because, certain sounds drive profit. So for him to just go into the studio and just like literally do whatever the hell he wanted, I think that's brilliant, and I think that's brave. So I commend him for that. But so from a cultural perspective, I commend him for that. As a listener, I just felt like I was in his, I don't want to say rough drafts, but it just sounded like he had a whole bunch of just concepts in his notes app, and he just like kind of threw them on the track, and it's just like he was just kind of wanting to see where he wanted to go with it, which I guess that's good for him, right? But as a listener, I'm just like, nah, I'm kind of like, nah, I'm tapping out. What I will say though is I think Tyler, because a lot of these songs were produced solely by him, I looked at the credits, I think that he is an amazing producer. Like, and I think that he should definitely lean, I'm not saying that he hasn't already, but I think he should lean more into the producer role, because he's absolutely amazing at that. You can tell that he has an ear for sounds, and he has an ear for like putting stuff together. But his vocals, his lyricism, like, he's dope sometimes, but most of the times I just feel like, okay, like, what is going on? Like, I'm just, and yeah, so I remember when I saw a tweet earlier in the week that said, that Tyler album is hanging out with the Carter Six, and everybody was like, oh, that's an exaggeration. And honestly, I did have like some of the same emotions that I had when I was listening to the Carter Six. Like, a lot of it for me was like, okay, well, what's next? What's next? What's this song? What's next? Like, just kind of wanting to get through it. And I think that's unfortunate. So yeah, I would give this album a 6 out of 10. I applaud Tyler for, doing something different and not being afraid to experiment with his art. But I also just kind of feel like, as a listener, like I'm not interested in that, in this particular thing. I think I will try to like if he drops another product, of course, I would tap in, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like this album didn't really do anything for his discography. You know, we always talk about like how many classics does a rapper have, you know, that kind of like cements them in the culture. And I think for Tyler, most people either say Igor or Call Me When You Get Lost, or maybe even Chromacopia. I don't know. Y'all can debate that in the comment section, but I just kind of feel like this didn't do anything for his discography. It just felt like you could have kept this, and I hate to say that, but that's just how it felt. So let me know if you want me to analyze the video. Let me know if you think that I'm talking about the Stop Playing With Me video. Let me know if you want me to analyze that. Maybe I'm missing something. Tell me what you think. Do you think Tyler the Creator is one of the great lyricists, MCs of our time, or does he also just make vibe music? I think that, like I said, we're in this cultural shift where, you know, we're championing the lyricists like Kendrick and Pusha T and Malice, even, you know, J. Cole, you know, the lyricists that actually do this. And like I said, I think a lot of us desperately want to put Tyler there because he cares about the culture. But for me, he's starting to like, well, not starting, I think he's always been, but he's kind of cementing himself for me in that Travis Scott, Playboy Cardi lane. And I don't listen to Travis Scott. Like, I've never understood the appeal of his music. And Playboy Cardi, I've never understood the appeal of his music either. There's some songs from each of them that I like. But yeah, I think, unfortunately, Tyler is in that category. So let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm tripping. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.